Excuse me. I was the gentleman who spoke earlier.
Please,
We're back
people.
in session. We're back in session now,
Por
please.
favor, personas,
I was the gentleman who spoke about somebody taking kickbacks.
What?
Due to instructions from a well-respected man in this neighborhood, Dr. Rush, I am a basketball coach, and he tells me that I'm looked up to, so I am to apologize to Gus. I won't say Gus, somebody is, but I apologize to Gus.
Thank you.
But let me tell you something. You can't deny that we, I know, that we deserve way more than we're getting, and this has been a long time coming.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We need to do a roll call, real quick.
We'll take a roll call real quick. He's here. He's not here. We'll take a roll call, please.
Mr. Friedman? Mr. Greenspan?
Oh, okay, I got it.
Jankowicz?
No, mejor para
Blunt?
Okay, I love that.
Rosenblatt?
He's always black.
Schwartz? Mr. Silver? Mr. Tipp? Here.
Here.
Mr. Slackton?
Go to the back. Okay. Your name, please?
My name is Mona Lawrence.
Thank you.
I have a child that attends Lakewood High School. Before proceeding, I'd first like to speak to the gentleman that spoke and presented the presentation on the busing. I think in the future you need to be a little more respectful of the audience. You seem kind of condescending to us. We're educated. We understand. You didn't have to repeat so many times. So by doing that, it seems somewhat condescending to us. So in the future, I think you need to pay attention to that. We have to respect one another and live together. And if you're gonna be up there making decisions regarding our children, then you must treat us with respect. Thank you. The next thing, I'm very happy to hear that you are not going to be cutting the kindergarten program, all the after-school activities. But what I'm going to ask of you is please don't go in the back by cutting other programs that's going to undermine these programs. If you say you're not going to cut, then make sure there is no cut that's going to hurt the programs. Secondly, our teachers are very important. You can't cut teachers and crowd classrooms and expect our kids to be successful. You can't just continue to cut. You need to pay attention to the graduation rate. What are you doing to help that process? If you care about our kids, then you need to speak to the teachers that teach our kids before deciding to do any cuts. My son works very hard. He's not just an athlete. He respects his academics. He works very hard to make sure his grades are up to par. Now, there are kids here that look forward to that activity after school. By taking that activity, what you're doing is creating a roadmap to the private prisons. So please, when you think about cutting, think about our children.
Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. Thank you very much. Thank you. Name, sir, please?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Sir, get your name, please?
Chad Wilson.
Thank you.
My name is Chad Wilson. I'm a proud product of the Lakewood School District. I just want to commend everyone that came out tonight to pine for their children. What I want to say, I want to make a couple points. Don't let this be the last meeting. I work in Manhattan. I drove from Brooklyn to come down here so that the people. I drove down here so that the children could get the same opportunities that I received as a student here. There's a couple points I want to make. The three gentlemen on this corner here, I work in an industry where everything is solution-based, all right? The majority of communication is nonverbal. These three gentlemen here have been lounging back the entire time, not respecting, it's really condescending. Which leads me to believe that the majority of the board, the majority of the board really don't care about the students, in my belief. Another point I like to make, these five gentlemen on this side, while Maria Gomez, the tennis player, was receiving her award, they were laughing, joking, not paying attention. Again, I really don't believe that they're for the students of this community. But on to my points. Gus made a point earlier that the Sunday transportation was paid for by the private schools. I saw on the minutes of the September 30th school board meeting where money is being allocated and reimbursed to the parents on a student-by-student basis for private camps and private schools. I had a question about that. If you guys want to speak on that, I could bring up the meetings for the.
Nobody
Yeah, we can answer that then.
Don't answer.
All right, sir, the answer to that question quickly is I believe you were talking about the aid in lieu. Aid in lieu is a statutory requirement that the Board of Education must provide to any non-public school parent entitled to busing, but no bus company bid on the route that their child was on. So it's called aid in lieu of transportation so that they get aid for driving their own children to school.
All right, now. I saw.
I'm sorry.
I'm not at 2 minutes, so I have the time right here.
I have the clock right here, so no disrespect, but your time is on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Who's next, please?
Who's next, please?
The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Cruz. My name is Sabrina Cruz.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can she please translate? Is that a problem?
I'm sorry?
Can she translate?
Yes.
Okay.
Mi nombre es Sabrina Cruz.
I would like to greet the board members and the district members, Mr. President.
Quiero saludar a la Junta de Educación y al presidente.
I am an alum of Lakewood Schools. I've been here for 19 years.
Yo estuve aquí por 19 años.
I can tell by the look on all your faces
Puedo decir por la mirada en sus caras
that you look a little bit flustered.
que ustedes se ven como un poco medio nerviosos.
And I get it. I get
Y
it.
yo entiendo.
But I'm here to remind you
Estoy aquí para recordarles
that the moment that you took on the position that you have today,
que el momento que ustedes cogieron la posición que tomaron,
you took on the responsibility of every single person in this room.
ustedes cogieron la responsabilidad de cada persona en este salón.
So please don't forget your job.
Por favor, no se olviden de su trabajo.
Because being a leader is being a servant.
Siendo un líder es un siervo.
Okay, so please remember that.
Por favor, recuerden eso.
Quickly, I want to give my attention to the public.
Por favor, le quiero dar la atención al público.
Please do not allow another election to occur,
Por favor, no permitan que otra elección ocurra
and you're not there.
y ustedes no estén
The
presentes.
future leaders of Lakewood are in this room, in the public. And don't forget it. Together, united, we make a difference. Please do not forget that.
Los líderes futuros de este pueblo
Thank you,
están
Miss
aquí en estos auditorio. Por favor, no se olviden de votar.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. Ma'am, say your name, please.
Mi nombre es María Morales
Maria Morales,
y yo le quiero hacer una pregunta.
I want to ask a question.
Todos los que pasaron dicen son ciudadanos o son residentes. Yo que soy latina, ¿cómo voy a transportar a mis hijos si yo cuando voy me para la policía porque yo no tengo licencia? Tú porque tienes papeles y yo no puedo transportar mis hijos.
It's easy for the people that came up and saying about transporting children that it's easy for parents to go and transport their children, but guess what? What happens to the parents that don't drive or that don't have papers to drive? How are we going to transport our children?
Contéstame esa pregunta.
Please answer that question. Oh, he is.
Si usted,
If you,
contésteme esa pregunta.
Ma'am,
¿Cómo voy a
can you
hacer?
finish all your questions, please?
termino
Okay,
toda la
thank you.
pregunta.
Because
Porque
you
ha
have 1 minute
pasado
left.
mucho y no les ha contestado mucho. Okay. Ahora mi pregunta es,
Now my question is,
yo le he enseñado a mis hijos
I have taught my children,
que aunque sea inmigrante,
Even
él
if they're
tiene que ser
immigrants,
un futuro acá.
they have to make a future here.
¿Cómo le voy a dar ese futuro y cómo le voy a enseñar si ustedes me están quitando la mitad de la meta?
How are they supposed to have their future if you're taking away their future and their dreams?
¿Ustedes serían capaces de cortarle la mitad de su meta y la mitad de su futuro?
Are you willing to take away half of their future and their hopes away from them? Is that what you propose to do?
Porque la respuesta que ustedes dieron de que van a cortar, le están cortando el futuro a mi hijo. Y quizás con el futuro él pueda ser el vicepresidente o el presidente donde estás tú.
I'm sorry.
Because the cuts that you propose to make really cuts into my children's education and their dreams of probably being where you're sitting right there right now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please answer the question.
What was the
Somebody
question?
answer the question. We have to the chair. To the chair.
The question was, how is she supposed to transport her child to school when she doesn't drive?
Can you? I'll,
Hold on, ma'am. We'll answer the question, please.
we're going to answer the question.
All right, this is a difficult answer.
Es una contestación dificultosa.
Under courtesy busing,
Abajo la transportación de cortesía,
when it is eliminated,
cuando es eliminada,
parents have the following options.
los padres tienen las siguientes opciones.
They can carpool with other parents,
Puede mandarlo con otros niños, con los padres que cuidan.
or if there is no car available,
Si no hay carro disponible,
under the state rules and regulations,
abajo las leyes del estado y las reglas del estado,
it is the parent's responsibility to ensure the safety of the child walking to school.
que es la responsabilidad de los padres de poder que los niños caminen a la escuela seguramente.
Ok. Yo mi hija yo la escribí.
I enrolled my daughter. She was on
Aún
a
así yo
waiting
no me
list.
detuve. Yo iba desde mi casa hasta la escuela
I would go from my
para que
house to
ella
the
no
school
perdiera su educación.
so she wouldn't lose
Eso no
out
me
on her
detiene, pero
education.
no quiero que hagan eso de que ustedes quieren cortar la
you, ma'am.
transportación. No
Thank you.
quiero que lo hagan, porque a mí no me va a detener aunque ustedes lo hagan. Ese es un sueño de ustedes que quieren romper, no el mío. Y el mío todavía va a seguir luchando.
No one is going to detain me from taking my child to school and then obtaining their education.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's your dream to eliminate transportation, not mine.
Through the chair. Through the chair. Yes, Mr. Overblood.
I'd like to answer the question. I'd like to ask if she has busing currently this year.
¿Tiene transportación ahora este año? La señora que habló ahora, ¿usted tiene transportación ahora este año?
Sí, pero son 5 veces que yo tengo que corregir el bus y son 5 veces que ya me deja mi hija ahí parada. Y aún así, yo no porque me dejó, yo no la llevé. Yo pago ride y me lo llevo a la escuela.
She does have busing now, but she has to chase after the bus because the bus always leaves her daughter, and she has to either walk her daughter to school or has to pay for a taxi, a ride to take her daughter to school. So nothing is going to detain her from taking her daughter to school.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can you please, next person, please pick up your name and address?
My name is Talia Jackson. I'm a longtime resident of Lakewood. I have went through the kindergarten through 12th grade. I've graduated from Lakewood High School. I am an alumni of Lakewood. I am also
Class 86, thank you.
Class of 86, thank you. I am also an inductee of the Lakewood Athletic Hall of Fame. Now, I would like to say, when I first heard about the kindergarten being taken away and the sports being taken away, even though you said it's not going to, it's in the budget, there's going to come a time that we have to come to this order again, and the parents have to come back and fight for our kids once again. For one, sports are not just a sport. They are camaraderie for the children. They bring them together. They form bonds with their coaches. They form bonds and friendships with their friends. They also do better in school because they have to have a certain grade point average, a certain grade to participate in those sports. Like I said, I ran track. I am an alumni. But I had to be here to speak on behalf of my grandson, who is a kindergartner, and my daughter, who is in the 6th grade at the middle school. When I told her after the rally on Tuesday in the town square that they may not have any sports next year, it broke her heart. Her hope and her dream was to be in the middle school. She couldn't wait to get to middle school or to the high school so she could participate in sports. And to take that away from her, it's an abomination. I am here to speak on behalf of my child and the children of Lakewood because it's not right. It's bad enough that this community is divided. You may not feel like it, or you may not want to accept it, but the community is divided. We need unity in this community so we can all live together.
Thank you, Talia. Dr. Harper. Good evening. As everybody knows, I am the pastor of the Macedonian Baptist Church here in Lakewood. I'm also the president of Concerned Citizens in Action, which consists of at least 10 different organizations that are concerned about education, violence, and so many other things. I am a bit disappointed because it sounds like from some of these presentations, especially the presentation on courtesy busing, it seems like you're underestimating our intelligence and also taking us for granted. I want you to know that I personally know quite a bit about education, perhaps more than a lot of you on this board. I earned my doctorate from Columbia University in New York State. That presentation was slanted toward a meaningful untruth. Why am I saying this? Because the emphasis should have been on actual numbers, not on percentages. If you had emphasized actual numbers, then the whole presentation would have taken a whole different direction. It would have taken the direction toward the truth. Questions. How will the Lakewood Board of Education account for the $5+ million deficit? Question number 2. I understand that you have until May 1st to approve the budget. So what else are you cutting other than what we have already heard about? Question number 3. How do you plan to improve, you say you're going to keep kindergarten, but how do you plan to improve the quality of education as far as kindergarten is concerned? And not only that, how do you plan to improve the quality of all of Lakewood schools? And the last question. What are you going to do to improve extracurricular activities so that there can be stronger minds developed, so that kids can learn how to work together, so that more team spirit can be developed? I believe if these kind of things were emphasized, we wouldn't have as much violence as we do in schools. Thank you,
Please
Dr.
answer all of those questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Are you going to answer those questions?
Dr. Harper, if you could set up a meeting with me so we can sit down and discuss those things with you, because we don't have time to answer all those questions right now.
It sounds like the public wants to hear the answer. Well, I just sat down with you, they won't know what we talked about.
You'll have to ask all those questions again, because like...
Well, at least answer the first 2, if you can't answer the rest.
Well, I
Okay.
don't know what the questions are.
How will the Lakewood Board of Education account for the $5 million deficit?
The district is getting a loan through the New Jersey Department of Education.
You're doing what? Did you all understand what she said?
The Lakewood School District is requesting a loan through the New Jersey Department of Education.
You're requesting a loan from the State Department of Education.
Correct.
If you do not get it, then what?
I'm sure we will be getting.
You're sure you will be getting it?
Yeah, we're confident based on conversations we've had from the Department of Education that they're going to help us out and loan us the money that we need so that we end up with a balanced budget at the end of this year.
Okay. Are you really just cutting what we have heard, or are there other things you plan to cut too that we have not heard?
On May 1st, the board gets to approve the final budget on May 1st in public session. They get to make it.
That's not the question.
The board gets to approve the budget in public session. I cannot answer that question, nor can the board.
So what else are you cutting that we have not heard about?
That question cannot be answered at this moment, or it does not. The board gets to look at the final budget on May 1st in public session, and they get to look at and get to make requests and look at the budget. They can make requests line by line.
Yeah, on May 1st, the Board of Education is going to have a public hearing on their budget. The Board of Education gets a final look at the budget and decides what it wants to submit as the final numbers. Any budget that's adopted by the board at the May 1st meeting still has to go back to the New Jersey Department of Education, where they will look at it and either give the thumbs up or thumbs down. So between now and the next few weeks, I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but I guess the board's going to be looking at the budget very carefully and seeing if it's satisfied with the tentative budget that it's already adopted at its meeting in March.
Okay, we talked a lot about cutting, but let's talk about the improvements. Since we
have
know...
a lot, sir, we have a lot more
Wait,
people behind you.
let me finish. You didn't answer the question. I asked, how do you plan to improve kindergarten? Because we know that the beginning stages are the best stages. If we don't set the stage right at the beginning, then kids are lost. So what are you going to do to improve the quality of education at the kindergarten level? I asked the questions. Improvements, what kind of improvements are going to be done?
We're making a lot of improvements as we go. The curriculum is aligned with the New Jersey Core Content Standards. We have interventionists at the K-2 level, and we are increasing the rigor. We're working with the RAC teams, we're working with interventionists, and we are working with the teachers every day on professional development.
I don't think they hear
Miriam,
you.
you can translate that, Miriam.
It's very hard to hear, so please, if you could keep it down, you'll hear us better and we'll hear you better, please.
Ellos están haciendo varios mejoramientos en el sistema y en los niños de kindergarten. Ellos están por varias cosas que están haciéndole hacer a los maestros de involucrarse más. Están teniendo unos talleres para los maestros y hay ciertas estándares que ellos tienen que hacer a los maestros. O ellos le están poniendo mucha presión a los maestros para que vayan mejorando en las clases.
Thank you, Dr. Harper. Nancy Soto, ma'am, come on, please. Ma'am, just keep in mind, ma'am, you have 2 minutes, ma'am, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
I just want to say I have 2 minutes. Please translate this. I have 2 minutes, but I was here since 7 o'clock. I'm waiting for all of you, and those 3 over there disrespected me because they were eating, okay? And you're just giving me 2 minutes.
Me están dando 2
Why do you get a lot of time of your life and I only got 2 minutes? Answer me to that.
Yo estuve aquí desde las 7 de la tarde y aquellos dos allá estaban comiendo.
I have to go back to my house to grab my 1-year-old because I have
y yo tuve que ir a mi casa a buscar la
Why so
niña.
much equality? Do you think we're less
Solamente
than you
durar 2
guys?
minutos.
Especially for you three over there.
Especialmente ustedes tres allá en la esquina.
Do you think we're worth less than you guys?
¿Ustedes se creen que somos menos que ustedes?
Because you thought, first of all, you started the meeting over there in the cafeteria. Why did you do that? I'll answer that for you. You did it because you thought, oh, my Latino community wasn't going to be here. Well, guess what? You're wrong, because there's other people coming to the meeting, and you can give me 2 more minutes. But you know what? I'm going to keep on raising my voice. All right? Because not only you guys are illegal, you think that if people have comments, but just because you think all of us are illegal, well, guess what? We're probably not even doing it for us. We're doing it for the U.S. citizens that are here. For the U.S. citizens that have the same rights as all of you. Now, the teachers, don't say anything about the teachers. Why are you going to cut the teachers? The teachers are doing a great job. We're very happy with them.
¿Por qué quieren cortar los maestros si los maestros están haciendo un trabajo bueno?
And I promise you one thing.
Te
If
prometo
you
una
cut
cosa.
the teachers,
Tú cortas
you'll
los
see me
maestros.
on Lakewood Town Square every day protesting, and I'll take all my Latino community with me.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I don't care if I have to go to Obama, I will go. And see all of this equality that you're doing.
Thank you, Ms. Santos.
Now, son, another thing that I want to make clear. My son, the 8-year-old, he's over there. You know what he told me right now? Mommy, why are you going? Because the Jewish community wants to cut our busing. So what do I say to him? I feel to answer that to him. He's over there.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, answer me. Answer my son.
Answer what, ma'am?
Why is the Jewish community taking away the busing from all the public schools? My son. He's 8 years old, and he's being mad at all of you because you don't care about his future. What do I say to him? Answer to them. Answer. Go ahead, you want to go? What, we're going to have to do another meeting so you can give me 2 extra minutes?
Through the chair. Through the chair. I believe the presentation, the point of the presentation was that we should not cut courtesy busing, and we should not cut the 53% of the public school. Nobody wants to cut anybody's busing. I don't want the public school or the non-public school to be cut. I just want you to see the reality that if courtesy busing gets cut, 53% of public
I'm
schools
not
will get
ignorant,
cut.
and nobody over here is ignorant, but we know what's going on. Now, my last question, I have a last question.
Here we go, ma'am.
Thank
Please.
you.
Thank you.
Which one of you is representing our Latino rights and all the people that are here? You know what children's need? I want to know how you're representing them.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Mr.
God
Governor.
bless America. It's a freedom of country. Okay? Everybody has the same rights. You're going against our rights. And you know what? Don't mind me. Thank God I don't have to go to Lakewood Public School. Mine's the U.S. citizens that are all over here. U.S. citizens.
Thank
Same
you.
rights.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Santos. Mr. Gertner.
Heath Gertner, class of 87, which Tracy Tiff knows was a better class than 86.
86, that's right. Thank you.
First, I'd just like to say I'm not really here to talk about the finer points of courtesy busing, but this is actually the fact. Back in 2006, I believe, the state did their QSAC. They told Lakewood that any expenditures on non-mandatory courtesy busing was not a good use of funds, and that Lakewood should not continue to claim lack of funds as long as they spend this money on courtesy busing. They continued to say, and this is the state, mind you, they continued to say that you could cut courtesy busing for the private school and still have it for the public school. And at that time in 2006, you would have saved $4 million, which I believe we have a shortfall of about $4 or $5 million, which back in 2006 would have covered that. So that is actually the fact, just so you know. I also want to say, I know Let's receive the report.
Soy de la clase de 1987. Me recuerdo en el 2006 a donde el Estado dijo, hicieron una encuesta a donde el Estado dijo que si continuaban dando transportación de cortesía a las escuelas, que iban a estar en un hoyo, en un déficit, pero que si el distrito escolar podría cortar la transportación de cortesía a las escuelas privadas y entonces podía darle transportación a las escuelas públicas. Y ustedes decidieron no seguir los consejos del Estado. Y ahora estamos en este hoyo que hay un déficit sobre $5 millones.
Is what gets lost sometimes. It's not all the school board's fault.
A veces también quiero señalarle que a veces no es toda la culpa de la misma junta.
So I want to challenge the school board.
Quiero desafiar la junta de la escuela
to approach the town council, the zoning and planning board. Well, do you really count the fact that she has to?
Yeah, no, I take that into consideration, but it's 11 o'clock.
Okay, let me just finish up.
Yeah, once he's done, then translate.
Okay.
Thank you.
We understand that the town and planning and zoning board actually exacerbate the problem by continuing to allowing building. And what really needs to happen is the town, our Board of Education, really needs to start approaching the township and saying our internal resources can't handle this, and they should put a moratorium on building. That's something you should do. And finally, and the last thing, and really the reason I came here was because I recognize that you keep giving recognition to all these other sports. My dear brother, my twin, coaches track, and he hasn't been getting any recognition for his track team. So I came here to give recognition for his track team. For the first time in a long time, he had 3 boys medal in the Group 2 state sectionals. This is the first time, I don't even know how many years that happened. Those 3 boys were actually Ivan Marks, who I believe was here today, Mike Randolph, and Alan Ford. At the same time, I got the rewards and stuff. That's why I came. The cross-country team picked up 6 medals this year. 3 girls medaled, and for the first time since '87, 3 freshman girls medaled in the same event. So that's the first time since 1987. He's building your track program, and he's not getting recognition. So I am giving my brother recognition. I don't know if he left it. Go track!
Una de las cosas que
Mr. Gardner, the coaches usually update me and send me emails on how their teams are doing. So if you can let your brother know, if he can update me, I'd be more than happy to recognize those children.
Or you could reach out to him.
Or the athletic director.
Or you could reach out to them.
We do reach out to them, but he also has to keep me updated. I have a lot of work to do. Thank you, Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Ms. Gardner.
Una de las cosas que quizá la Junta debería de hacer es de ir al municipal y decirle, nosotros no podemos seguir de esta forma, ustedes tienen que poner un paro en tanta construcción que hay de las casas nuevas o lo que sea, porque eso verdaderamente está chupando de los fondos de nosotros. Eso fue lo que él trató de decir.
What's your name, ma'am?
My name's Ashley. I am a high school student. I am a junior, and I'm proud to say that I am from Lakewood as well. And unlike other people here that are residents, I just moved here, not just moved here, but I moved here like almost 5 years ago. And most of the people that I told that live here come to the Board of Ed meeting, or at least the rally on Tuesday. They said, why is it my business if next year's my last year anyway? Well, I'm here fighting for my friends over here in the crowd that are freshmen and have to go through this for the next 3 years of their lives. And I don't know why you guys are limiting us to 2 minutes when freedom of speech is our nature. It's our natural right. It's our natural right to be speaking here. Was for not cutting courtesy buses. Well, maybe there should be a cut, because now public school buses are only filled by, what did that lady say? 6 boys on 1 bus. Do you know how many people are on my bus? Not enough to sit down.
I take Pine Acres bus and that thing is full. Some people have to walk and they have to live within a 2.5-mile radius. That's at least a 30-minute walk because they give me 15 minutes to walk the track to pass gym. So you really need to, I don't know, like maybe a mile, maybe half a mile, because I know that I have to wake up at 5 in the morning to walk those 2 miles myself. So, and I'm here representing my little brother that had to go home because it's 11 o'clock and he has to wake up early tomorrow for school. And if God wants, then he goes to kindergarten next year too. So that's affecting my brother and that's also affecting everybody else out here that's representing us too. We're trying to talk for each other. And I just have one question for you. Do I have to wear a yarmulke to have the same education as you guys?
Your name, sir? Sir, your name, please?
Bueno, mi nombre a lo mejor no es tan importante, pero mi nombre es Joel Mendoza, servidor.
Joel Mendoza.
Su servidor.
At your service.
Estimados miembros del quórum, respetable concurrencia, les agradezco mucho. Es mi primera vez que yo llego a una reunión, que nunca había estado.
This is the first time I've ever attended. Unfortunately, I've never attended any Board of Ed meetings before. This is my first Board of Ed meeting.
Señores, yo nomás, mis comentarios van enfocados hacia mi comunidad.
My comments are really in focus towards my community.
Hoy por primera vez.
Today for the first time.
Hispanos.
Spanish.
Los sajones. Americanos, anglosajones, gringos, como quieran. Es igual. Afroamericanos.
And African Americans too.
Todos esta vez tenemos un problema en común.
All of us have one common problem.
Dicen los políticos que están en el poder.
The politicians that are in power are saying.
Divide y vencerás.
To live and you
Confunde y los aburrirás y se irán.
Confuse them and then they'll get bored and leave.
Escoge una hora en la noche para que sus niños lloren y se van pronto. Vean cuántos somos ahora.
We'll do the meeting real late so then they get tired and they'll go because their children are tired, so they'll leave.
¿Cuántos somos? No somos ni una tercera parte de lo que
Look what's
estábamos.
left from where we started.
Y todavía nos ponen un niño dándonos estadísticas para que me dé sueño.
And then
porque me
they give us this little boy to give us statistics to make us fall asleep.
Desde mi punto de vista, que dice que el Estado tiene, que los papás tienen que llevar a los niños a la escuela.
And then you have somebody over here saying that the state says that it is the parents' responsibility to make sure that their children are walked to school safely.
Tal vez comparta eso. Tal vez comparta eso.
Maybe I'll share that with you.
Pero pregunto, ¿sucederá mismo con la comunidad judía?
But I ask this last
Mr. Mendoza, your time is up. We have 2 more people to speak.
But I also ask this last question. Does the other community share the same sentiments, or are they going through the same thing we're going through?
We got 2 more people, please. Mr. Mendoza, please.
Ni siquiera venía preparado con una pluma para apuntar cada
I
una de las
wasn't
cosas.
even ready to come here, not even with a pen.
Thank you, Ms. Mendoza.
¿Cuántos aquí? ¿Cuántos? He visto que el niño va cruzando la calle y el del bus se va. Okay. Bueno, la moraleja de toda esta plática es sencilla. Dice un dicho dicho en mi país y que aplica para todos.
Thank you.
Pisa la cola al gato y te arañará. Pero en este momento le pisaron la cola a un tigre.
There's a saying in my country that says, you step on the tail of the cat and he'll scratch you. But at this very moment, we have stepped on the tail of the tigers and we've done a dent in them.
Thomas Barnett.
Thank you.
Resident, parent. I hold in my hand a board game. The name of this board game is Lakewood Opoly. It's from the #1 selling board game in history, Monopoly. I got this in a Jewish bookstore. No
En mis
disrespect.
manos yo tengo un juego que se llama, normalmente se llama Monopolio, pero este se llama Lakewood
Opoly.
Verdaderamente es un juego que está en las tiendas judías.
The history of this game is it was designed by a man who stole the idea from a woman who taught Monopoly as a bad way to go.
Esta idea fue cogida de un hombre
He stole the idea.
robó la idea de una mujer
She taught Monopoly as a bad way to go. He taught Monopoly as a way to go.
que enseñaba, la mujer enseñaba que ese juego era una manera de cómo no ir, pero él lo viró al revés, sino enseñó que era la forma cómo ir.
He made millions of dollars.
Hizo millones de dólares.
And she was paid a penalty of $500 for her idea being stolen from her.
Y ella le pagaron a ella solamente $5,000 por tener la idea robada de ella.
Why that matters tonight is because the author of this game, this version, the
¿Por qué
Lakewood
esto
version,
hace sentido en esta noche? Porque la versión de este juego
teaches in the yeshiva schools.
es enseñado en las escuelas,
Yes, it is.
en
And
las
the
escuelas
schools have
judías.
signed off.
Y las
And it's
escuelas
on
han
the back
firmado
of this.
atrás
The
de este
schools,
juego.
the yeshiva schools have signed off. He doesn't teach math and English. His sister.
I respectfully disagree.
Okay,
Never
it's in
attended
writing.
yeshiva.
It's in writing. I'll read it to you. Want me to read it to you? I'll read it.
Back and forth.
I'm not
Can you just finish?
As you can tell, I'm respectfully saying.
Mr. Rosenblatt,
As you can tell,
finish up.
as you can tell, I'm respectfully saying.
Yes. Finish.
Okay, I'm trying to.
No, I'm saying, don't get it.
Okay.
Yes.
I, as a Christian, and many Christians here, we love and pray for Israel.
Como cristianos, todos aquí, los que somos cristianos, oramos por Israel, el pueblo de
We
Israel.
stand and we fight for Israel.
Y peleamos por el pueblo de Israel.
And God tells me in His Word,
Y Dios nos dice en su
you
palabra
bless Israel,
que
I will bless you.
que si tú bendices a Israel, yo te bendizaré a ti también. Te bendigo a ti.
Thank you, sir.
Can I finish? I got my time cut off. He said something, I got my time cut off. I'm saying something because how does the board feel about something that brags about monopoly? What the game means is to bankrupt everyone else and you remain economically solvent.
El
How do
juego
you
enseña
feel that is being, this guy's system is being taught in your school? He put this game after a person that stole from someone else.
Este juego enseña cómo robarle a las demás personas y poner a esa persona bancarrota y ustedes prosperar.
Once again, I would respect
Your name, please, ma'am?
Stephanie Campbell.
Thank you.
Okay. I really didn't prepare anything to kind of say. I just wanted to speak about.
We can't hear you, ma'am.
I just wanted to speak about who I am. I graduated from Oak Street School. I graduated from the middle school. I graduated from Lakewood High School in 2006. Thanks to my teachers here, I was able to collect over $10,000 in scholarship on scholarship money. From there, I went to the NJ STARS program because that's when it first started off. It was first starting off at OCC. Got my associates there. Then, because of my grades and everything and my force behind, and thanks to Alexa Miss Sos that was here, she allowed me to get an academic scholarship at Georgian Court University where I got my bachelor's degree. somehow, some way, this girl was able to not have to pay for college. If I was because of the people in this school, and because of the force they put behind me. Then, I went to Monmouth University. Last year, I was able to receive my master's degree in criminal justice and homeland security. And I'm not going to say that that's because I also have a great family behind me, but it's also because of the instruction and the foundation that I got through Lakewood schools. And I don't understand how anyone can sit up here and justify to try to make decisions when you don't have kids in this school. Mr. Tiff, I know you do. When you don't have kids in this school. And it disgusts me to see and hear my younger cousins who go through this school system now and hear all the things that they're cutting and they don't have and everything. Speaking to JoJo, she was saying about this right here. You had to contract out to pay someone to build this. That is ridiculous. When I was in school, the wood shop helped build the stage for the play. You're cutting and you're cutting and you're cutting. Exactly. Multiple kids on buses, and my goddaughter gets put on the school bus, and it's packed. It's packed. It's disgusting. And I'm driving to work in the morning, and like one of the parents said before, 6 kids on the bus. Doesn't make any sense. So my question to the board now is, are you going to revisit the idea to force the non-public schools kids to have to share busing? That's right.
Thank you. That concludes the
Answer the question. Could you guys answer the question? And Mr. Tiff, I don't want you to answer the question. I want everyone else on the board to answer that question. Because you've been taking a lot of hits for them, so I want everyone else to answer the question.
Well, you got it in your school. Everyone.
I spoke within my 2 minutes, so I'm waiting on the answer. Believe me, because we've been here all night.
What is the question?
Because I feel like we're looking for solutions, correct? That is a major solution.
Ross, can you address why share busing can and cannot be done? Please, thank you.
Because church and state have to be separated. Please don't use religion.
Regarding the segregation of girls and boys in Lakewood, in 2004 went all the way up to the appellate court because a lawsuit was filed, and actually under the controversies and disputes Title 18A portion. And through the decision that was made in court, it was ruled that the bus segregation is not the result of gender. It is the result of the schools that the children attend. And because we send buses by school, if that school happens to have all girls in it, it follows that the bus will have all girls in it. If the schools were integrated with boys and girls, and the buses had only girls and the buses had only boys, that would be a violation of both state and federal law. But because the schools are exclusively either girls or exclusively either boys, the bus routes are set up by the school, not by the gender. And that's why it's legal and that's why it continues.
Tracy, did we go through this? Tracy, Dr. Rush?
I'm gonna, Dr. Rush, you on the list, but you didn't speak, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully close us out.
Yes, thank you.
But Board of Education, what you have heard, you've heard the people speak loudly and clearly. Now let me remind you and tell everybody else what today is. Today is April 10th. If it does not mean it, that happens to be my mama's birthday, but that's not what I'm telling you. But 50 years ago today, President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Now, there's a reason that we're here tonight, because 50 years ago and today, we feel that we are being discriminated against. We strongly feel that. You heard, and what we don't want in Lakewood is what is happening in East Ramapo. If you're not familiar with East Ramapo, please read what's happening there. We don't want that to happen in Lakewood. We said to the Board of Education, we want to work with you. We want to work out solutions to these issues. They are issues and they're real. And they're hurting our kids. Now when you talk about cutting courtesy busing, but keeping athletics, and cutting after school programs, but keeping athletics, what happens when our kids finish football at 6 o'clock and can't get home because there's no busing? That's almost like cutting athletics. What happens when our basketball team practices at night or winter sports and they come home in December and January or can't get home because there's no bus to take them home? We know that in your budget already you've decided to cut after school programs. We know that you've decided to cut courtesy busing. We are saying to you, you have until May 1st to try to relook at your budget and think about some other things to cut. We said to you, we meaning Unite, Pastor Glenn Wilson, Reverend Harper, myself, Fred Rush, NAACP, we're willing to work with you to come up with these plans. But as I said earlier, the other day, we will work with you or without you. Okay? Because we're prepared to go wherever we need to go to make sure our kids get the proper education. Thank you.
I just want to think one thing real quick. We're actually done with the list, so we're not taking any more public comments right now. We don't have time, really. I'd like to thank all the publics, all the parents that came out tonight.